Thank you so much for your patience. Can you guys see? Well, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, can you see me?
No, we can't see you yet.
Well, that's all right. I got my 5-piece suit on this morning.
Ah, your 5-piece suit. Awesome.
So, were you able to get the PowerPoint?
Yes, we've got the PowerPoint. We're ready to go there. Oh, maybe.
Are we? So,
Let's see.
okay, so it's more important to hear the message than see me.
Okay.
Let me know when you want to get started.
Okay, I think we're ready to get started. I'm gonna try to share my screen here so that, let's see, hang on a second. If we do this,
All right.
there we go, we're gonna share. I'm gonna pull this up. Can you see, Vicki or Bobby, can you guys see the IRS presentation? Anybody? Are you with me? Hello?
Viewer, anyone?
Yeah, anyone, anywhere, okay. Well, we're just gonna kinda roll with it. I've got the first screen.
We will read the PowerPoint
We are ready to go.
presentation.
So we are starting with better business through better records.
Alright, so you can see my PowerPoint, but you cannot see me, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so do I have control of the PowerPoint or Morgan, do you?
I do. I'm in control.
Alright, so I'm also working on Blue Monitor, so we'll kind of keep it together. So,
Okay.
folks, good morning. Thank you so much for your patience. I'm sorry for the mix-up in time. I wish that you all could see me. I have my 5-piece suit on this morning. I got my cup of Joe. I'm ready to roll. Just real quick, I've been with the service, I'm starting my 29th year with the service. I've spent 26 years in collections. So I just feel stakeholder liaison is giving me a larger platform to get the word out to you good folks. The big message that I want to give is I definitely want to keep you off of the collection radar. I've been a stakeholder liaison in the state of North Carolina. I came on board in Fayetteville in November of 21. Prior to that, North Carolina did not have one here. North Carolina was covered out of Columbia, South Carolina, and it was covered out of a young lady out of Dallas, Texas, so it was done virtually. So when I came on board in November, it was just the best thing since sliced bread. So at the end of this presentation, you'll have my name, you'll have my contact information. If you need me for anything, IRS issues related, please reach out. If you need the mortgage payment, I cannot help you with that, but I certainly help you with anything IRS related. So with that said, we're gonna try, as you can tell, I have a sense of humor. When I was first hired by the IRS back in '91, I remember walking out of the interview, the secretary said, Robert, you're not gonna last very long with this outfit. I said, why? He said, you have too much of a personality. I said, well, that's exactly what this outfit needs.
Yes.
So here we are 20 years later. So, jumping right in.
Okay.
Better business through better records, okay? Now, I don't want you all to get scared with this. Now, depending on what kind of business you're running, if you're running a mom and pop operation where maybe a small bookkeeping company, as opposed to a large corporation, your record keeping is going to be a lot different than a large corporation. So, the biggest takeaway that I want you to get from today is you do what best fits the business and or operation that you're running. Because when and if you ever get audited, first of all, it's not going to be a surprise. You're not going to get a knock on the door and say, hey, here I am, I'm with the IRS, and you're being audited today. You're going to be in contact with the auditor. You're going to get notices, and eventually he or she might say, well, yes, you're going to be open for an audit. So at that time, have your records and books in line, because basically what they're looking for is whatever you have on the return, make sure you have that information to back up the information that's on the return. That's the end result, that's the bottom line. So with that said, Morgan, we can go to the next slide.
Got it.
Okay, so again, you must keep good records, okay? It's important in several ways. It helps you monitor the progress of your business. In monitoring the progress of your business, it records, whether your business is improving, right? It shows what items are selling. It also shows what items might not be selling. Good records also increase the likelihood of the business success. Prepare financial statements, okay? You need your records to prepare accurate financial statements. These include profit and loss statements and balance sheets. These statements can also help you in dealing with not just us, but other creditors. You know, banks, other creditors that also help you manage your business. So you're not just dealing with us, right? You need good records for other financial institutions. And then also an income statement. That shows your income and expenses of the business for any given period of time. Balance sheet, right? Balance sheet shows the assets, liabilities, and then also your equity in the business on the given date. I feel like I'm in my accounting 101 class with
Yeah, no
balance
thanks.
sheet, so
Hard pass, we'll
the
skip that one.
liabilities. So then also identify the source of receipts, right? So that's also very important. Your records can identify the source of your receipts. All right, we can go to the next slide, please.
Got it?
All right, so as it states on there, income expenses, record keeping systems supporting business documents. These are all, again, suited to your business that clearly shows your income and expenses, okay? However, the business, you are in affects the type of record because you need to keep for federal tax purposes. Your record keeping system should also include a summary of your business transactions. This summary is ordinarily made in your business books, for example, accounting, journal, and ledger. I'm a note taker, you know. I'm also a note taker on my receipts. Sometimes the receipts might not be a good print.
Chamber, I just wanted to clarify something that I think you just said, but make sure I understood it. Did you say it's okay to make notes on a receipt, like lunch with our state representative or something like that, just so we can keep track of what that receipt went with?
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes your check register may have an extra few lines. Again, whatever triggers good information.
Okay.
I do that because, you know, I get audited every year, with my return. I'm a personal kind of guy, as you find out already know. I met my wife at the Internal Revenue Service, so we both get audited. She also works for the IRS.
Oh my.
I'm a WAC, right? So we get slide 4.
Yep.
Again, supporting business documents as they're listed there. In addition to that, you're gonna have purchases, sales, payroll, any other transactions in your business will also generate supporting documents in addition to the invoices and receipts. So again, supporting documents will include sales slips, paid bills, invoices, receipts, deposit slips, record keeping. A lot of good information in there.
Will you say that one more time? It was publication what?
583.
583. Got it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Next slide, please.
You got it?
All right, so again, the system you use to record your transactions, again, will be more effective to follow your practices. For example, record expense check register. I try to balance it twice a week with what the bank statements say, but I trust my check register more than I trust my electronic bank statement. That's just me, I'm old. Now, again, consider using a checkbook that allows an outside check for cash to pay a business expense. Again, include the receipt for the cash payment in your records. If you cannot get a receipt for a cash payment, you should make again an accurate explanation in your records at the time of payment. Again, I always say, folks, use a common sense approach to this. It's not rocket science. Again, it's again what type of business you're running, what works best for you.
Okay.
Again, use the business account for your business purposes only. Indicate the source of the deposit and type of the expense in the checkbook. Okay, we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if Morgan shared with you, I did start my IRS career in Hickory, North Carolina as a revenue officer, and I used to cover all the mountain counties. Ash, Avery, Watauga, so you guys are near and dear to me.
Yeah, we're hanging out.
That area.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Got it?
Purchases. So purchases are items you buy and resell to customers. Now, if you are a manufacturer or producer, this includes the cost of raw material or parts purchased from manufacturer into finished product. Your supporting documents show the amount paid and that the amount, so keep that in mind. Let me repeat that. Your supporting documents show the amount paid and the amount, was for purchases. So, documents for purchases include canceled checks, gas register tape sales, credit card sales slips, invoices. If you pay cash, just make a note if you're paying anything for cash. Again, document.
Yeah.
Next slide, please.
Okay.
So expenses. Expenses are costs you incur other than purchases, okay? You can carry on your business. Your supporting documents should show the amount paid and that the amount was for a business expense. So documents for expenses, these include canceled checks, cash register tapes, account statements, credit card sales slips, invoices, petty cash slips for small cash payments, okay? Again, if you need to make notes that add a little extra information, what the petty cash slips for small cash payments for, then definitely do it, okay? I don't know if any of you have ever been audited, but
Has anybody ever been
it
audited?
is nerve-wracking, but as long as you have good records, I'm telling you, there's nothing to worry about. If you have information that backs up the figures that are on the tax return, again, nothing to worry about. And I say that from experience because after my first audit with the IRS, it was easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Easy peasy. Okay?
Alright, next slide, please. We should be on I say number 9. It could be a little different, but next slide, should be proof of certain business expenses.
Yep, that's
So,
where we're at.
So there's travel, transportation, entertainment, and gift expenses. So, again, if you deduct travel, entertainment, and gift expenses, you must be able to prove and substantiate this. Now, there is a really good publication for this that I'm gonna refer you to, that's publication 463. Okay, and again, you can find that, on our website. It is in PDF, so you can, download that. So really look at that. It goes in-depth into travel, entertainment, gift, and car expenses. It talks about what are adequate records to keep, how to keep a travel log, everything. Talks about you should keep proof of what you should keep proof of, the need for an account book, a diary, statement of expenses, any type of similar type of record. It just has really good information. It talks about if you have meals or lodging expenses while traveling away from home, for which you account to your employer. It has an accountable plan, and you can use per diem. Talks about per diem allowance method. That includes meals and lodging.
Yeah.
It also goes into your expense other than lodging, which is less than ordinary, will be considered adequate if it shows the amount, date, place, and essential character of the expense. The example that my notes go over is a hotel receipt. A hotel receipt is enough to support expenses for business travel if it has all of the following information: the name and location of the hotel, the dates you stayed there, separate amounts for lodging, meals, and telephone calls. You know, this could be someone in construction or doing drywall work where they've got to go overnight and they've also got employees. If some of you entertain, there's a good example for restaurants. It talks about duplicate information. You do not have to record information in your account book or other record that duplicates information shown on a receipt as long as your records and receipts complement each other in an ordinary manner. Duplicate information, folks, again, I tend to keep it. I mean, how much space is a duplicate receipt gonna take up if you have to staple together? If it's stapled together, it's right there in the same ledger, same book. Now, if you do not have to record amounts your employer pays directly to any ticket or other travel item, However, if you charge these items to your employers through a credit card or otherwise, you must keep a record of these amounts that you do spend. Again, what I mentioned, timely kept records. You should record the elements of an expense or the business use at or near the time of the expense or unition that I mentioned to you. Let me do that publication, I believe publication 463.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, we can go to the next slide.
You got it?
Hey Bobby, a couple of questions.
Okay.
One, you were talking about timely recording. I use Mile IQ to track my mileage for any work mileage I have to do. Is there a standard time period that I should Mile IQ will do reports monthly, but is monthly okay for submitting or tracking mileage, or should it be a lower time period?
Well, let me give you for instance. So I'm in the state cup for soccer. Last weekend, this weekend. So last weekend I was in Goldsboro. I recorded it the weekend I traveled to and from Fayetteville, Goldsboro.
Okay.
Just because if I didn't, then I'm gonna add to and from, and then I also had lunch on Saturday in Goldsboro, and lunch on Saturday lunch on Sunday in Goldsboro. So the reason I kept my lunch receipts is because my soccer club does not give me a per diem.
Got it.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, it did, and the other question is, I'm pretty good at keeping receipts, I'm actually really good at keeping receipts, but what happens if I occasionally lose one? Do I just take that off the report and not get reimbursed for it? How does that work?
No, if you lose one, then, I would estimate in a ballpark.
Okay.
If lunch, you bring a lunch, I would estimate, and there are guidelines for that, IRS is not gonna shake a stick at that, but if
Okay.
in the ballpark and there are allowances for that, then I would use the allowances by law.
Okay.
And I've done that before too, like for instance, I've purchased, coach's gear from Dick's where I've indicated a t-shirt, and a t-shirt from Dick's is not gonna exceed $25, so my CPA said, well, we can give you an allowance for a t-shirt from Dick's, and, these days, if it says Adidas, Nike, or Puma, it's not gonna be more than $25, but it's certainly not gonna be less than $25. Actual amount that it costs, and I'll also include shipping and handling as well.
Cool, thank you.
Yep. All right. Keep on keeping on.
Let's keep on keeping on. We got a few more minutes. We'll keep on.
Yeah, keep it on track also time wise, because I don't wanna, if anyone needs to excuse themselves, please do. We've got a few more slides. So assets are the property, such as machinery, furniture,
Thank you.
that you want to use for your business. Keep records to verify the information about your business assets, because returns, keep that in mind. And then if you're also involved with a corporation, then the 1120. Now, you can find good information. I believe that slide goes into publication 15.
Yep.
That is a very good publication. It's also known as Circular E. There's also mentioned publication 225. North Carolina, for some reason, also is considered a rural state, so that also goes into the farmer's tax guide. That's a publication 225. And then I mentioned our website, www.irs.gov. If you want to do / employment record keeping, again, tons of information there as well. All right, we can go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
So this goes into, again, employment tax records. What you should keep note of, EIN is the employee identification number. You definitely keep employee information, employment dates, talks about wage, annuity, and pension payments, tips reported, fair market value of in-kind wage payments, and wage paid. We can go to the next slide, please.
Okay. That should be small business record keeping.
Yes, yeah, so, this is a good example of what record keeping should look like to small businesses, right? So whether you use a system like this or a different system, you need to be aware of burden of proof, right? So burden of proof is a responsibility to to prove entries, deductions, and statements made on your tax return is known again as burden of proof. You must be able to prove or substantiate certain elements of expenses to deduct them. Generally, you must meet the burden of proof by having information and receipts when it's requested. You should keep, again, adequate records to prove your expenses, or have sufficient evidence that will support your statement. You generally must have documentary evidence such as receipts, canceled checks or bills to support your expenses. Additional evidence is required for travel, entertainment, gifts, and auto expenses. So just keep that in mind. Also, again, I mentioned earlier, other than the IRS, you might need it for bank purposes, and maybe other financial institutions may need that as well. Next slide, please.
Okay, moving on.
So we're talking about length of time. Length of time you should keep. A document depends on the action, expense, or event which the document records. Generally, you must keep your records that support an item of income, deduction, or credit shown on your tax return until the period of limitations for that tax return runs out. Okay? Publication goes into the limitations, goes into the time frames. The period of limitations is a period of time in which you can amend your tax return, the same for credit or refund, or the IRS can assess additional. They help in preparing your future returns, and they also help if you ever needed to provide records for audits. Okay? So keep records for 3 years if situation. Keep records for 3 years from the date you filed your original return, or 2 years from the date you paid the tax, whichever is later. Now, if you file a claim for credit, or refund for your file for a refund, again, keep it for 3 years. Keep records for 7 years if you file a claim for a loss from worthless.
Got it?
We talked about examinations, auditors. You know, they need to follow rules similar to that of hard copy documents. Most records can be accepted by the IRS in electronic format. There are many ways to submit electronic records to the IRS during the examination process. Always discuss your electronic submission options with your auditor and follow the instructions on your examination letter or notice. The document upload tool to take time to get familiar with that. Electronic documents generally make it more efficient for you to submit records, as well as more efficient for an auditor to review your records. It saves time, it saves money, and it's also safe because it's kind of like a multi-factor authentication where you'll get a code on your cell phone, so have that available when you are doing that. And again, you can see that on our website as well. There's accounting software that's used. The IRS may request the accounting software backup files, so just keep that in mind. We can go to the next slide. That has good information, so I'm gonna jump to that.
Yes.
If you want to make note of this, it's the again publications that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So again, please familiarize yourself with our website. Publication 583, starting a business and record keeping. Publication 463, that goes to travel. Publication 15, that is a really good publication to keep on hand. We go to the next slide. Here's some more publications to keep in mind.
Heck yeah.
So again, 535, business expenses. 536, net operating losses. 547, that's usually come hurricane season.
Yeah, I think we're safe. Hopefully we're safe.
Yes, I know, fingers crossed, Publication 594, that goes into the IRS collection process. If knock on wood, and if ever you do get a nasty grant from the IRS, because of my 26 years of collection, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. And then we go to the last slide.
Last slide. There it
There's
is.
my information. If you need me for anything, please reach out. I do my best to try to get back to you all within 24 to 48 hours. You will not listen to elevated music. That is my direct number. My email address, I just want to make sure that's robert.l. not I, because some people say, Bobby, we can't get through, it kicks back, so